Why do we get rid of fevers? I remember in the TV show ER back in the day when one of the new emergency room doctors who wasn't from the US asked why treat a patient's fevers with meds like Tylenol or Advil or aspirin, since fever is the body's natural reaction to infection. The nurse's answer, to make the kid feel better. Because it feels bad to have a fever, and stopping the fever with drugs doesn't meaningfully worsen the infection generally. Raising the body temperatures above 42 C is fatal. Certain fevers are fine, but if they get worse you need to lower them. The point is to control the fever. It's a body response to an infection. The problem is if your temp gets too high for too long, you can damage organs and eventually lead to serious injury or death. This can be especially true for small children, as they are a higher risk. Hospitals can deal with infection through antibiotic and antiviral medicines more effectively. The human body is awesome, but it isn't perfect. It has a few hammers to throw around at injuries and illnesses that work better than dying, but aren't always appropriate. There are definitely some cases where doctors may advise you to let a low-grade fever run its course, but there are others where antibiotics do a better job than the fever with less risk of side effects, or where the cause of the fever is known and it is known the fever isn't the best way to handle it. In those cases, removing the discomfort of low-grade fevers or the danger of major fevers is a positive move. Benefits of a fever are very limited and quickly outweighed by the benefits of getting rid of it. Even just feeling better, especially if it's a high fever that only needs a couple degrees more to get dangerous. Fever is like the body's last-ditch attempt at ending an infection. It's biologically expensive, dangerous if sustained, and with modern medicine is largely unnecessary since modern infections can be directly treated with medication. A slight fever doesn't need treatment, but if it gets too high, organ damage can occur, which is very bad. My friend got a bone infection, and over the course of 12 hours he went from totally fine to having a fever of 109 degrees. He lived miracle, and he woke up 2 months later miracle with very minor brain damage miracle. 11 degrees warmer than he was supposed to be, and it should have wrecked his brain. I'm so grateful he's okay. His brain damage is comparable to that of a person who has had a few concussions. It's barely anything in the scheme of what happened to him. Although there are some proven benefits to a low-grade fever on mortality, there is no evidence that says treating that fever is at all harmful. There is also no real evidence to say that having a fever affects disease symptoms or symptom longevity, and having a high-grade fever can be harmful, especially when very unwell. It is the body's response to infection, and it does have its place. But the body is bad at doing this well, and it makes you feel like crap if you have a fever. Treat the fever. Protein starts to cook at around 42 degrees Celsius, and guess what is your brain made of? Regular fever is not a problem. Usually we take meds for fever because it's uncomfortable. And we usually take other meds or supplement to combat whatever infecting us. Asks question, answers own question with next sentence lol. A fever isn't like the thing getting rid of the illness. It's a side effect of the body fighting. You don't need to have a fever to get rid of a virus or whatever. I have always let low-grade fevers run their course in my family. It's your body trying to cool the bad germs, so a good time to rest and hydrate. The fever is good at killing the bad bacteria and viruses, but it's not super effective at not killing the body's own cells in the process. Nowadays we have medicine that can kill the virus or bacteria, help the body kill the virus or bacteria, or manage the symptoms to keep the body in good enough shape to fight the virus or bacteria. It's kind of like old technology vs new, where it does do what it's supposed to, but it has higher risks and a lower chance of working perfectly than the newer solutions. Because they feel terrible and can cause awful body aches that can prevent someone from getting rest. It's uncomfortable and can impact your ability to function, work properly. Yes, fevers can knock out infections, but high fevers can also knock out other essential bodily functions and make some feel absolutely fucking miserable. A brain can only cook so long before it ceases to work. Fever is the type of body reaction that assumes they can kill the threat by raising the temperature above a certain threshold, while forgetting we do not survive either that easily. Imagine that a bug enters your room, some really nasty one, starts knocking shit down, leaving everything dirty, spreading bacteria and larvae. Your immune system basically burst into the room holding a box of TNT and a lighter, and either you go, or we all go. I was sick as hell once with a temperature of 103 F, and my friend's mother who was an RN told me to pop some ibuprofen and take a lukewarm, not cold, shower and go back to the doctor in the morning. Turns out I had pneumonia. You really can't play around with fevers past a certain point. Just because it's the body's attempt at saving you doesn't mean it can't kill you too. Because they can literally cook your organs and it would lead to organ failure and then death.